Hey guys, this is Shannon with Nearly Organic Noshing, and I thought I would just do a quick little walkthrough to show you a few of the things that we have growing here. I've not had the time to spend too much too much time in the garden as much as I would like to. Like my plot, I have some stuff planted, but not near as much, and I only have a few seed starters up on the porch, which none of those have even come up yet. It was a couple days ago that I was able to work on those, and I still have a ton more to do, but just super busy here, lots of stuff going on. And I still have to make more raised beds because this is the way that I'm wanting to go, is raised beds. It's kind of a hugelculture. I have wood, chunks of wood and wood shavings in the bottom, and then I have soil and peat moss and rabbit manure. You can see there's rabbit manure all in here, all mixed together. So this is just an old refrigerator, side-by-side fridge freezer, which makes for a great raised bed. It has a natural drain in it, so I didn't have to put drains. And we get these from customers that want to get rid of them, that aren't worth repairing. And so I have a couple of these right now. So right now I have some lettuce growing in here, which this lettuce is about to become dinner this week. I have just a couple heads. It was an old seed packet I planted, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and only a few of them came up, and that's fine. I didn't know if anything was even going to come up from the seed packet because it was like 2 years ago. So, and one lone, I believe this was kale that I planted on this side, but that does not look like kale to me that came up. So that looks like a different kind of lettuce. It's kind of spiky. So I'm not entirely sure what that is. I need to do a little research before I feed it to the family. But there is lettuce, and I have lettuce and carrots growing in here. And the carrots, these are all transplanted carrots, and they're doing really, really well. All right, sorry, where was I? My son, who is walking back up to the house right now, had to come tell me he is heading into work early. So like I said, these carrots were transplanted carrots. I transplanted them when they were, this tiny, or a little smaller. I'm actually just transplanted more in here a few days ago, because I felt like I had the space to transplant more in here. I know a lot of people don't transplant carrots because they're like, oh, well, they don't grow as straight. I've done it many times, and yeah, sometimes you get a funky shaped carrot or it grows crooked, but I really don't care. What I do is I take a stick or my finger and I just poke a deep hole, and I try and put the transplant in there as neat as possible. It just kills me, my rooster. It just kills me to have to pluck them and throw them away. I do feed them to the chickens, but I will show you what I'm talking about over here. I have peas growing here, and these are early perfection peas. I just have the little paper here for them. But these are where I started my carrots from. And I really did not expect them all to germinate. So I have been going through and plucking carrots out and transplanting them. And my hope is, since these guys are doing so well, that I can start plucking them as baby carrots, and I can pull them when they're just long and skinny, and we can just eat them as baby carrots, because I know that there's too many in here. But you can see some empty spots where I've been going through and really trying to weed them out and transplant them. I've transplanted more in here. And this old pool is getting ready to become a raised bed. It's about 3 years old, pretty beat up. And it still holds water and all, but the corner's all beat up. So I'm going to be moving this and turning it into a raised bed. And I may transplant carrots into it if I can get to it this weekend. So I have enough carrots in there that if I take my time and separate, I could fill this entire pool up with carrots, which I would love, because carrots just seem to do better in raised beds for me. Our soil is super sandy, like super, super sandy, and it drains amazingly well. So we don't have any standing water, but the downside is any nutrients I put into the soil and water I put into the soil, it just drains away. I've tried the back to Eden method here, and all I did was breed fire ants and funguses, and it just does not work in the South. So this is my pineapple bed, which was looking great. When I planted all the pineapples in here, I really did not think they would all make it and take. It was bright green until I think a creature of some sort had gotten in there and our dog went after it and just tore up a bunch of them. So they're looking a little brown, but I'm going to see if I can transplant some of them out of this. This is a big tractor tire, but you know, these pineapples are just so healthy in there. So I'm going to try and root through them with some gloves because those leaves can be kind of sharp, and pull out the smallest ones to give it some space. And then I'm going to transplant the pineapples into more of these tires. They seem to do well in the tires, and by having them in something like that, it's easier for me to cover them if it's going to freeze. So I have tires here and there. Over here I have potatoes. This is again another just old chest freezer that had gone bad. And these are just potatoes that had started sprouting in my basket in the kitchen. So I have brought them out here, and I didn't fill it all the way up with soil, so that essentially I'm hilling the potatoes. As they grow up, I've been adding more rabbit manure and hay and dirt. I just mix it all together and then sprinkle it in here. Along with the chicken wood shavings from the coop. I just mix it all together so it's not too hot, and pour it in here. So I need to put another layer in here along with some hay, and these potatoes are doing really, really well. These 3 buckets I'm slowly filling up. Actually, I need to get the tractor. Down in the bottom, you see all these little cups. We have like Keurig cups that we use in the office for coffee, and I'll just, when I get a can of them filled up, I just come out and dump them in my raised beds. My compost pile, my bin broke. I had a big limb fall on my compost pile, so I've not been putting compost in there. So this is just what I'm doing. I've been coming and throwing them in the bottom of any of my raised beds, and then I'll add more soil, more chicken manure and shavings, more dirt, and fill them up. So these are just old washer tubs. They work great. I definitely am going to be going to IBC totes. I just want more space, and it works well. But if you're on limited space, these washer drums work really well. This is a blackberry bush right here that I actually thought had died. I didn't think it was going to make it, and this year I had trimmed it back pretty good, and all of a sudden it started growing again and it's flowering. So I'm pretty thrilled with that because I thought it was dead. Same for the blueberry bushes over here. I had 4 blueberry bushes. I thought they had all died. 2 of them had, 2 of them did not. These guys have come back and are doing well. And I had started a pineapple over here. So I may pull this pineapple and move it somewhere else and do this just as a blueberry corner. I would love to get about a dozen blueberry bushes, and that would be enough to feed our family. As it is, I usually go and pick or buy blueberries from a local farm, but I would love to have my own. So that is that. I had another blackberry here, but as you can see, all that's growing in my tire is weeds. I would love to have this whole garden filled up and going, but I work like 50 hours a week. Technically 40, but by the time you just take in the extra, I stay out there till late a lot. A lot of times it's 50 hours, and then just everything else that we have going on, I don't have the time to devote to the garden like I should. So I really want to go to more raised beds. Right now I have 3 rows of carrots here, which I don't know if they're going to come up because they were late me planting. A row of kale, which I was late planting. And then I have the beginnings of green beans planted here, and I have some of runner beans in this middle container here that it's just going to take them a little while. The carrots and the beans, they can grow together. The beans will go up they're scarlet runner beans. The beans will go up the poles. I'll put some string there, and they'll be fine with the carrots at the bottom. So that's it that's going on in the garden right now. Like I said, this is just dirt. There's nothing to see. No seeds have germinated. Nothing has come up. But we've had a really good rain the last 2 days. So I'm hoping that in the next couple days when I walk out here, I will see green. So chickens are coming to say hello, and I have babies up at the house I'll show you. While I'm walking to the back of the property, the weather has been in the 80s here last week and over the weekend. It got up, I think, 85 this past Saturday. Today's Tuesday. And it has dropped back down, which I am absolutely loving. It's supposed to go down to like 47 tonight. It's probably 55 or so right now, maybe 60. Perfect. Absolutely love it. I wish it would be like this all the time. So I'm working on my food forest. Unfortunately, during the hurricane, 2 years ago, took out some of my trees. But this is a Meyer lemon, and I have been putting the chicken shavings on it, and it finally has taken off. I have done citrus fertilizer, mulch, everything they say to do, and nothing has worked. But all of a sudden, I'm seeing it putting on new growth, and for the first time, it has some little bulbs and stuff starting to form. So I'm super excited. If this thing takes off and actually starts producing some lemons, I will be thrilled. Over here, the dogs were hunting this tree. They hunt for lizards and bugs. You see Macy, she's hunting. And that's why a lot of my trees end up getting knocked over and killed, because something climbs up them and the dogs try and catch whatever it is. So this is a Japanese plum tree. I had 3 of them out here. They all died except for this one, but I'm starting some more. My parents have great Japanese plums. They have 2 huge trees at their house. And yeah, Macy is searching. And theirs is doing really well. So I'm going to be going and picking some maybe this weekend. And I'm going to try my hand, I believe, at dehydrating them. It's just something I want to try and do. Maybe I'll make some jam, or maybe I'll make some bread or something. But I love them. They are super tasty. But I think I'd like to try and dehydrate them. And you can see we have just wildflowers growing here and there. Lots of little yellow flowers amongst the grass. Now, this is a peach tree, and you can see it is now leaning. So I was talking to Chris. We are going to stake it and start trying to pull it the opposite direction. And in the south, if you can see this, ant beds. We get horrible fire ant beds everywhere. So you have to really look out for the ant beds. So this is a peach tree and has hardly any leaves on it, but it does have a single blossom and a couple of leaves here and there, and all of the tips are having buds that are coming out. So I thought it was dead, but when I broke back some of the limbs, it still seemed like it was still alive. So I'm just keeping an eye on it, and hopefully, some of it is dead, but some of it's still alive and it's shooting off new shoots. So I'm just leaving it, other than I'm gonna tie some cloth around it, hook to some string, and I'm gonna start trying to stake it back this way. We'll just have to watch out for it when we're on the tractor, not to catch it. My poor banana tree. It was doing so well, but as you can see, it officially has died. So I'm gonna try it again. I'd love to have banana trees going. This one lasted almost a year, but it didn't get any bigger. So I talked to someone about growing the banana trees, and I'm gonna try and buy one that's a little bigger, a little more established, and put a couple of them out here. And she said that they love chicken manure. So I was staying away from the chicken manure. I thought it was too hot for it, but she said as long as I put it with the wood shavings, the way I clean my coops, it'll be fine. And then over here I have an orange tree. It has blossoms on it and more buds, so I'm hoping I may not get a bunch, but at least I'll get a couple of oranges off this year. And my goal is to really expand my citrus. We love oranges. We love homemade orange juice. I put up orange juice every couple of years, 50-60 gallons at a time, so that I don't have to do it the next year. So I'm really hoping this guy makes it. I think I've pulled off 3 oranges off this tree, but it's getting a little bit tiny little bit bigger each year, but since I've started putting the chicken manure, you can see the wood shavings here. I just put it all into the bucket of the tractor and then bring it out and shovel it around the trees. So we have grapevines, wild grapevines growing on the back here. They don't produce really well, but I want to get some like Concord grapes or some seedless grapes. Muscadines are okay in small amounts, but we really love grapes and raisins that are not seedless. So we have enough fencing. I mean, we have filled fencing everywhere that I could get some serious grapevines going on field fencing and not have to set up an arbor or anything like that. I've had a lot of other plants and shrubs and bushes. When the kids ask me, Mom, what do you want for Mother's Day? What do you want for your birthday? I always tell them, buy me fruit trees, buy me blueberry bushes. So I'll walk up to the house and show you what we have going on up there. I have no idea what these flowers are, but they pop up in my garden and they kind of grow in like a circular pattern and spread out. Absolutely gorgeous. I like cutting these and putting them in little tiny bud vases around the house. So whenever they just pop up, unless they're in the middle of one of my crops in the garden, I just let it do its thing. So I just think these are pretty. This actually came up through the concrete. This is over in our area where we park the trailers and boats and stuff like that. I have a bunch of pavers that we still have to figure out what we're going to do with. I think we're going to do like an outdoor patio kitchen area, but that's down the road. We have too many projects going on and they're concrete. They'll sit right there until we're ready to do something with them, which we have our toys and we have our trips, but you have to work in between. This past week, I was working on splitting wood. I split the whole trailer full of wood. This is stuff that I still need to transfer down to there and get it all stacked up and separate the kindling and get it set up to the side so that it can all start drying out really well. And then scoop up all the bark and go get it in the big burn pile so that we can get all that bark burned. When I was at Home Depot, I got totally suckered into these plants. I really need to get some more beds set up so that I can get them transplanted. I want to have strawberry plants. I have a strawberry bed that I keep going that's dedicated directly to strawberries, just for strawberries. They do really, really well here in Florida, and if I put it in a raised bed, I can create like a hoop for it, and if it's going to get below freezing, then I can cover it. So I picked up that, some lemon thyme, and this is a cherry tomato plant, which I need to get in the ground. They were having a sale on these for $2 each, and I just could not pass it up. So I just have it out here. Chris was working on the tractor, so this was as good a place as any just to have it set up so that it could get rained on and not be sitting in water. The fig tree is looking absolutely amazing this year. These figs are so good. I think I have 3 gallons of figs in the freezer I still need to do something with. We really love figs. I love figs. So I make fig preserves, which I think I still have plenty of fig preserves. I like to do a fig glaze for the pork chops, but I think I'm going to start branching out and trying figs with other things. Figs with carrots, figs with sweet potatoes, fig bread. I'm just going to start experimenting with the figs that I have in the freezer, because this next batch that I get of figs, I'll probably make more preserves with, but I want to go ahead and use up what we have in the freezer before I start trying to put more in, because our freezer is overflowing. So I got to get these guys cooked up somehow and just start experimenting with some fig dishes. But this tree is looking really good. It lost half the tree a few years ago. Branches broke off, froze, and got full of icicles and snapped off. And it also had like this fungus on it, and we just chopped off all the parts that had the fungus, and it has come back and looks gorgeous. I cannot wait until the figs come. When my nephew is here, he just sits out here at the tree and stuffs himself with figs. Okay, remember when I said it was just a couple of days ago that I was working on my starters? Yep, I still have my mess out here because I will come back. I plan on coming back. I just have to find the time. So maybe tonight, we'll see. I'd love to come out and work at it a little bit again. It's just been a couple of days, so nothing is going to be coming up probably for at least another week or so. Oops, I'm on the wrong side. You're not going to be able to see what any of these are. I have all of my seed packets here. Well, not all of them. These are just my MI Gardener. I need to pull my other binders of seeds out. But so far, I have up, and some of these are wanting to bubble up to the surface. I haven't been out here since I watered them. I have 3 things of Muncher cucumbers, 2 Space Master, 2 Armenian, 2 Coral Bell, 2 Purple Beauty Sweet Peppers, 2 YOLO Wonder, 1 row of Pimento, 3 of Sunbright, 3 of Big Red Sweet Peppers, and 3 of Top Crop Beans. So I'll start seeing some results in a week or so. Things will start popping up. Things are a disaster. I've just been throwing stuff up over here. I still have tons of rolls that I have been collecting to do more seed starters, and I have more little seed starting plastics over there. I just have to find the time to come out here and work on it and get more seeds going. But I just have my supplies here, and I'll get to it hopefully this week. Speaking of things that are growing, have all my little baby chicks in here and our little brooder. This is right in our mudroom at the back door. It's about 92 in here right now. 95 is ideal, but it's a little cooler outside, and the door has been opening and closing, and so it's a little bit cooler, but they're not huddled. They're not hanging out just under the light. They're all over the place and climbing everywhere, so I know it's warm enough in there. And I hate putting a light down inside. It makes me very nervous to put a light inside a coop, especially with the wood shavings. So I just have the light sitting on the metal mesh right here. And right now I just have a towel to the side blocking off part of the mesh instead of just putting the light in the middle. Next week, I'll probably move the towel and set the light in the middle to let a little more airflow. But for now, this is working. These guys are happy, growing, healthy, eating, and still doing pretty good. Okay guys, I'm on my front porch where I have what I call my scrap garden, and you'll have to excuse the mess. This is zone 1 right now with Fly Lady, if you follow Fly Lady. So I have got to get out here and work on this zone. It is an absolute mess. I have stuff everywhere, and we've had rain for 2 days. And so there's just leaves and all just kind of stuff everywhere, all over the porch. So what I call my scrap garden are things I can just take and replant out here, like celery, lettuce, green onion, peppers, sweet potatoes, things that just start sprouting in the kitchen, or I know that if I plant it, it'll sprout. So I have celery going here and there. This is one of the celeries. I have green onions and lettuce there. These are sweet potato starts that I have sitting in water. I just wanted to get a tiny bit warmer before I get them started out in the garden. And I really, really, really need to get my bed set up. So I don't want to put these guys in a small bed. I want them to go in one of the big IBC totes. Maybe I'll do them in the pool. I'm not sure, but I'd prefer the IBC totes for them. So I have more going down here. These potatoes are not sprouting super well. Some of them are doing well, some of them not so much. So I may have to get more potatoes, but we'll see. So these are just a tomato that when I cut into it, a bunch of the seeds were already sprouting inside the tomato. So I just came out here and planted the tomato, and now I have tomato growing. These are basil. It's starting to bolt, so I'm just going to let it bolt and save the seeds from these. More sweet potatoes here. These are my herbs and peppers down here. Again, this is a pepper that some of the seeds were starting to sprout, so I just came and shoved the pepper in the soil out here, and I'm covered in blooms And if you see here, I have little peppers starting to form here. Oh, there's a little pepper there. So these are just black bell pepper or purple bell pepper, I can't remember. But I have rosemary, basil, parsley, thyme. I have that lemon thyme that I want to move out here. I like having the herbs on the front porch. Super easy when I'm cooking, just to walk right out the door and pick herbs to go in whatever I'm cooking. We do have an orange tree here. Unfortunately, it is sour. It was sour ever since we moved in, and it has thousands of seeds in every single orange. It's just not really edible. Sometimes if I want orange zest, I'll come out here and grab it and use one for orange zest. I've tried to turn the peels into orange peel candy, but it's just too tough. They're not a soft orange, not soft enough for orange peel candy. So we take them and throw them across the street. And when there was a pig here, I would throw the oranges out to the pig. He liked them. Sometimes throw them in the compost bin, but I don't put too much in the compost bin, and I don't feed the chickens too much of that. So this is the rest of the porch. Like I said, it is a mess. It is still decorated for St. Patrick's Day. I have not had a chance to do Easter. That was my birthday flower, which I loved from Chris's dad and stepmom, and apparently I am doing something wrong. I've had it in 3 different places and it doesn't like me, and it doesn't like any of the places I'm putting it in, and it just wants to die. So it's called Creeping Jenny, and I'm having an issue with it. So I just have it sitting down here for now. I'm going to try and, when I work on my zone in the next day or so, come out here. I try and deadhead stuff and take off the dead, along with cleaning the porch, watering everything. So I'm going to work on that when I do that. And the same with these. I see things that are dying. I need to go in and just clear off all the dead and make sure everything is watered really, really well. Pull out anything that is obviously dead so that I know I'll have area for other plants. So this guy has definitely outgrown its container, and you can see that it's draping all the way down here to the floor. There's just tons and tons of vines here. So I'll probably just chop these vines off and take the vines and put them into another container and move this one up to a bigger container, because those vines will just root and keep going. So I don't have a clue what it is, but I just think it's pretty, and it'll root and it'll keep going. These guys I've had for a couple years, and these are daisies, Gerber daisies, I believe, and you can see they all have buds and will be blooming soon. So I think I have another one down there. Yep, I have another one down there, and it will be blooming. So that is the front. What people see when they go by. I need to change out my flags. I need to change everything. So once I get my Easter decor all together, I'll probably show something along the lines of Easter decor. Like I said, some of the sweet potatoes, looks like I have a bloom. Look at there. I didn't even notice that guy was blooming. More blooms ready to go. Don't remember what these are, but they're really pretty. It almost has like an ivy looking leaf, but then they have these really pretty pink flowers. I bought those a few years ago too, but I am awful with the names of things and remembering what's what. If it lives, great. If it doesn't, I toss it and put something else in its place, and hopefully it lives. This sweet potato is growing roots, but no, it's not sprouting. So, like I said, I think I may have some dud sweet potatoes. They are just, nothing's happening. So, and I thought, well, maybe I have it on the wrong side. Maybe I need to flip it over. And so after like 2 weeks of nothing on one side, I flipped it over. Nope. Some of these guys are just, oh, that one's got a couple roots. We'll see what happens. So maybe they'll take off. Lettuce is starting to bud here. So we'll see what pops out. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my little tour of what is growing and blooming on the homestead. And hopefully in a month or so I'll have a heck of a lot more to show, maybe less than that, if I can get some more stuff planted. But I'm going to get the herbs out here planted and the strawberry beds done and the sweet potatoes planted and more stuff going in the garden and more starts. But this is where I'm at right now. I usually spend my lunch break doing this kind of stuff because after work it's dinner and laundry and house and home and trying to get everything done. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them down below. I look forward to hearing from you, and I try and answer back whenever possible. All right, guys, have a great day. I have to go back to work.